Alright, so with the new update, they released crew battles into Jailbreak. So all you type is game mode crew battles into the console, and you get this little box, and you have like your friends and stuff, and they can join. You can have as many players as you want. It's not limited by anything, and you just kind of go into two boxes. One thing they could change is probably make it so you can't hit people, but like if you're the server owner, you can turn off PvP and ban all items just like that, and that way no one can hit each other. But other than that, pretty cool. They brought back crew battles, and I wanted to make a video on exactly everything you need to know about crew battles. So I mean, the first thing you'd want to start off with doing when you're in a crew battle is looking at the robs and figuring out which robs you can, or like which robs are worth your time. So for example, JSTOR is a nice quick rob, and if you spawn here and nobody spawns over there, you can get over there and get inside and have a pretty quick robbery. But if you were to go to somewhere like Casino, that would take like 2 minutes, and it's just a really long robbery. So you're trying to prioritize the best robbery. Another thing you need to know about crew battles is like everyone who plays crew battles now uses CBL rules. So oil rig is banned, jet is banned. There's a bunch of stuff that's banned. I could put a list on screen of everything that's banned if you want to pause. But yeah, that's what CBL rules are. So everyone has to kind of follow those, or else it'll kind of be playing not by the rules, because obviously you don't want someone cheating or like abusing a glitch in a stupid way. Another thing you want to do for crew battles is you want to have all the vehicles you need. So you're going to want to have Volt Bike, the Eclair next to JSTOR in case you get out, the Cybertruck next to Power Plant, and also the DeLorean next to Power Plant. Because like you could use this vehicle right here and get out without having to spawn. And you can also use the Cybertruck in the same way. And that's why you need all those vehicles to use in crew battles. They're very useful. They're not needed, but it's like something you should have. Like for example, if you want to get on plane late, you're gonna need a UFO or a stun plane, or else you literally can't get on it. Jet's banned. Oh yeah. Another thing for crew battles is you kind of need to use like almost every gun. You don't have to use it. Like revolver and shotgun are kind of optional, but like you're gonna need a flint. You're gonna need force field and plasma pistol. You're gonna need a sniper 100%. You're gonna need C4 for bank, and you're also gonna need rockets for bank. And nobody really uses smoke grenades or grenades because they're not that useful and they cost a lot of money. And obviously nobody uses those. Another thing you want to do in crew battles is you want to get together and think of strategies as a team. So one good strategy is splitting up the cop team into two. So if you know all of the cops are like at the jewelry store because your teammate got arrested by all three of them, you'd want to you'd want to have someone at Crater, and that way it'll split them up. It'll make one of them have to die if they want to defend Crater or drive across the map, and that's like one good strategy. There's a bunch of other strategies that I could get into later. It's just kind of like the basics. Alright, so now I'm gonna talk about what you want to do on the criminal team. So on the criminal team, you're gonna want to obviously spawn at the start of the game. When you're switching teams, you can reset and it won't add time. So you can spawn like Volcano, or you can spawn at City. And that way, if you spawn City and you want to spawn Volcano, you can try to get lucky and spawn somewhere else. This also works on the cop team. If you spawn at like the prison, you can get lucky and spawn at City and like anywhere else. It's just kind of luck based. But once you get your desired spawn, you're gonna want to go to like, depending on what happens. So if someone spawns over here, which most of the time someone does, just based off of luck or something, you're gonna not want to rush JSTOR. At least I wouldn't recommend it. If you're gonna rush JSTOR, you're gonna want to go all the way over here to the side, and you're gonna want to look at this road kind of from here and make sure you're not in sight, and you're gonna want to see or watch until the person drives away from the JSTOR. So you're gonna want to come over there and be there when there's no one here, because or else you'll get arrested, you know. And the only reason you would come here when there's a cop on you is if you have like guns or something, or you have some advantage, because otherwise the cops can just easily come up and tase you and arrest you and have an advantage. So you're not going to want to rush JSTOR unless you know there's no one there. And once you get in, obviously there's so many strategies of JSTOR, that's like a whole different topic. But you're just going to rob it and you're going to come out top and try to get out. I'll talk about JSTOR later. If you spawn at Volcano, a good place to go would not be military because most of the time cops spawn there. You kind of want to go, I would say, like Crater Gun Store or Town, because those are probably the two safer places since you can't get natural town spawn in Crater. You also can't get natural spawn, so they're probably not going to be at one of those locations. As a criminal, the robs you're going to want to prioritize are probably banks. If you know the players you're going against, you can beat them. If you know you can't beat them in bank, I wouldn't suggest going bank. I would suggest going a robbery like ship, because ship is pretty hard to stop and it's pretty much guaranteed, but it takes longer. If you're confident in banks though, they take like a very short amount of time, 30 seconds, and they're just a free rob. Also, if there's a train on the map, you're going to want to instantly go train. You're not going to want to go anywhere else, because train later on it's very easy to guard now, as they made it so it's very easy to arrest on trains. So you're going to want to instantly go train. If someone's already on train, just go somewhere else, but you're going to want to get that early on, because if that's your last rob, you're not going to be able to get that. It's very easy to defend train now. Also, train is the easiest rob in the game, so that's why you're going to want to go there. So next up, you're going to probably want to prioritize JSTOR or maybe power plant, because those are two pretty easy robs. Keep in mind, power plant, if you rob it once, you're gonna have to wait 3 minutes to be able to rob it again because it has to close. So if you fail to rob power plant, you're not gonna want to go back there. And JSTOR, you can rob as many times as you want. It's a pretty easy rob as long as you can get inside. That's probably the biggest problem. So before I go in JSTOR, I always want to get like a UFO or some kind of flying vehicle. And using the flying vehicle, I can get on a high building and start sniping people and killing them. And once I kill them, I know I can get inside. Ship is a very easy rob, as rockets don't even really do damage to vehicles anymore. So as long as you have a UFO, you're pretty much good for ship. It's kind of hard to not get it. Just go like, you kind of have to keep low and make sure like the guy who's like defending it isn't like aiming at you. And if you're like over here with a UFO, you can literally just go like this. They'll hit one rocket on you probably, and then you can get it in, or the rocket won't do damage and they'll just hit a snipe on you, but you'll still probably get it in. Pretty easy. Plane, it's a pretty easy rob, but keep in mind right now there's this glitch at museum. If you're on top of the plane and it passes like around here, like over museum, it'll push you off. So unless you're inside, you're gonna get pushed off the plane. So you're gonna want to make sure you're inside there. For plane, you can get on it early and you'll be fine, but most of the time like cops are there. So most of the time you're going to want a late plane, so that way they don't really expect it. So you can spawn a UFO or get a stunt plane from Crater. So let me spawn a UFO, kind of showcase this. So if you spawn a UFO, it has a very high height limit. Around museum is where the Blackhawk stops being useful and you can't get on plane. But with UFO, you can get on plane all the way over there. You can get on plane from anywhere. Tomb is 2-player. You're going to want to open that at one point, but you're going to want to make sure no one's there or around, because Tomb is pretty easy to defend at the same time because you have to stand on both tiles, but it's also very easy open now because it only requires 2 players and not the whole team. So Tomb is a pretty easy rob to start. And museum, you're going to want to also make sure no one's around. But once you're inside museum, all you really have to do is make sure like no one's on your side and you can spawn, or you can have someone die and then you can walk in and out, or like try to get out some way by looking at your mini-map. But that's kind of more in depth, just kind of just the basics. Another thing you're going to want to do on the criminal team is just kind of kill the cops if you have a teammate in power or something, so like defending. That's also very common in crew battles. You're going to either get like some flying vehicle or like go over there and like snipe cops, or maybe if your teammate's in here or in power and you go on one side and fight the cop, your teammate can run out the other. So that's also something you can do in the criminal team. But now I'm going to talk about the cop team. So on the cop team, if you spawn at city spawn or anywhere really, you're going to want to get a Blackhawk. Like that's the first thing you're going to want to do. You don't always have to get a Blackhawk depending on if you want to get to power quickly. But Blackhawk is very useful and it is very easy to spawn now. So you're going to want to get a Blackhawk and full guns. And once you have full guns, you can go and like defend robs. And with the Blackhawk, you're gonna want to jump on the criminals. So if they're like in a volt bike, you can shoot them out with missiles, which is kind of skill based, but you kind of just aim your crosshair at where you think they're gonna go, and sometimes it hits. And what you're gonna want to do kind of is once you shoot them out, you're gonna want to keep missiling them so they get low, and then you're just gonna want to literally jump on them and do some more damage and then cuff rush them. And also, while you're cuff rushing them, make sure that you don't like stand. So if you cuff rush them like this, they literally can't see for you, and you can just arrest them. It's kind of OP. So you're gonna want to do that. And if you can't get the cuff rush, just tase them. It's pretty easy. Tases are so easy to hit as long as you practice them. And it's like the most OP weapon in the game. Another thing as a cop is you're gonna want to make sure you always have somewhere to die. Okay. Nice. This game is not buggy at all. Anyways, if you have like a Blackhawk or something, you're gonna always want to make sure you're next to a fence, especially if there's any crater robs. Because the faster you can die, the faster you can spawn a crater if they start it. So pretend like you killed a criminal over here, and they respawn at crater, but like you don't know where they spawned, and you can just kind of be next to a death point and you can wait until they start it. So for example, I'm gonna start it in a second here on my all account, and you can go up to this fence and die or something, and that way you can spawn and get there quickly before they open all the vaults and get a good head start on you. Because in bank it's very important to not get there late, or else the criminal will have like a huge advantage, especially in some vaults. And I'll make like maybe a whole video on bank or something. But yeah, you're gonna want to make sure you're here as quickly as you can. That way you can go and arrest like the criminal. Another thing for cop team is you're gonna also want to make sure to utilize as much as your stuff as you can. So I don't even remember to do this all the time, but placing a road spike somewhere if you have nothing to do is always useful. Or setting something up and while you're waiting for a criminal to come to like a place somewhere is also useful. So for example, a strategy I do is I usually have C4, and if the crater bank isn't open, I would go and set something up so that the criminal can't get in. So for example, I would double C4 this door, and the criminal would like, while walking in, they would like get stuck. And if I'm up this ladder or somewhere around here, I can go and like kill them while they're trying to run in. So it's a pretty free kill. So stuff like that, you're gonna want to set up and wait for the criminals. You can do this also with plane if they have like a plane crate, and obviously you're gonna be sitting there waiting for them to turn it in. You're gonna want to have like set something up. So if you see like the plane flashing, you're gonna have a lot of time to set something up. And what I usually like to do for plane is I usually like to grab the semi truck and set like, or block off a bunch of entrances. So here, I'll show you in a second. So you'd grab this semi truck and you'd kind of drive it around here, and this would, even if this doesn't block all the way, it's fine. This blocks enough. You can put a road spike here even if you want to, that way they really can't get through. And then you'd grab the second semi truck and you'd come around here and kind of block it off like this, so that they literally have to come through this little gap straight to you, and they're most likely not going to be able to get it like this. That way they have a couple options. They can get some flying vehicle and come in, which if you're on the open you can snipe or rocket, or they can take this path, which isn't very common, or they can take the water. But what I like to do is I like to sit in the water in this corner and just literally hold E. It's basically a free arrest, so this is a very easy way to defend plane, and you have enough time to do this while they're driving all the way over to this side of the map. Another thing you're going to want to do for cop is you're going to want to go for arrests, but if you can't be like too greedy for arrests. So if you want to arrest someone, you're going to have to tase them and be in range. But if you know you might not be able to get the arrest, it's better off killing them instead of risking dying, because if you die in a bad spot, they can get a huge advantage from that. So arrests are very like important since they add a lot of time, but at the same time they're not worth going for all the time. So kind of decide what you want to do. But most of the time you're going to want to go for arrests. Another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to position your police team, just like how you kind of position your criminal team. You're going to want to make sure you're ready for any robbery. So for example, if there's a ship rob like there is right here, you're going to want to have someone constantly sitting and watching it. And even if you don't have anyone watching it because everyone else is on something else, you're gonna want to keep having to check if any crates are gone, because if any crates are gone, that means they can get a free rob, and you're gonna have to defend it. So you're gonna want to make sure none of these crates are gone, or check it periodically, even if you can't watch it, or you can just watch it. You're also gonna make sure you have like someone at crater, or someone ready to go crater, or someone watching like JSTOR or something is very important, because good positioning leads to like free arrests, and also like stopping robs way easier, because if you get there late, it's very easy to get a robbery and you can't really set up. And I think that's about it for crew battles. I mean, there's really nothing else to go over other than that. There are still a lot of things that I could talk about in more detail, but this kind of just like overall crew battles and what you overall want to do. So obviously you're going to want to get as many robs as you can, and obviously you're going to want to get as much time added on cop team as possible. But that's really basic. Some other things I can mention is that you can go in... Okay, bro, like what? Okay, Asimo is messaging me in my private server. Anyways, something else I can talk about is, even if you're not good at PvP, or if you don't have good game sense, you can prioritize one of the two. So if you have good game sense, which is, to be honest, to have good game sense, all you have to do is kind of know everything I just said and think about it all the time. So if you have good game sense, you could go prioritize the robs that you know you can get even without having good PvP, like ship. You don't really need to fight in ship, and you're gonna want to avoid bank. But if you know you have good PvP and you can beat the player you're going against, you probably prioritize bank because you can get that robbery. So you're gonna want to play like that. In my next video, I'm gonna be going over some other stuff, like maybe robberies. I can make entire videos on the bank. There's so many vaults and there's so much stuff about it that I just can't name all of it in one video. And another video, I'm gonna make a video on strategies and stuff, and probably another video on glitches that aren't CBO banned, but most glitches are CBO banned, so you're not gonna really be able to use them in game. But yeah, that's probably it for this video. That's all I can really think about right now.